Example 3 is a word problem. We've actually solved, I think, this exact same word problem before, way back at the beginning of the semester. But we're going to see how to solve it now using a slightly different method. So, in this problem, it says that fares for the bus in a certain city are 25 cents for children and 75 cents for adults. One of the buses had a total of 1,000 passengers on a given day, and the total revenue from the fares on that day was $650. How many children and how many adults rode the bus during that day? Okay, so we should first identify our variables. So we want to know how many children and how many adults rode the bus. So we'll use X and Y to denote these quantities. Let X be the number of children tickets. Or the number of tickets, the number of children who rode the bus. And we'll let Y be the number of adults. Okay, so we need to use this to try to come up with some equations. Well, first off, it does tell us that the total number of people who rode the bus on this day was 1,000. So from there, we can get that X, the number of children who rode the bus, plus Y, the number of adults who rode the bus, has to equal 1,000. So that gives us one of the equations. The other one comes from the total fares. We know that children tickets cost, the fare for children was 25 cents. So the total fare from children is on this day is 0.25 times X. And an individual fare for an adult is 0.75. So if I multiply that by Y, or the number of adults, that gives me the total fare for adults on that day. And we are told that that is $650. Okay. So now I have a system of two equations, two unknowns, and I can solve this using elimination. And to begin with, I'm going to multiply the second equation by 4, just because that will let me get rid of all the decimal numbers in this system. So if I multiply that by 4, I end up with X plus Y equals 1,000. And then the second equation gives me 0.25 times 4, so that's just 1. So I get X there, plus 4 times 0.75. Well, 0.75 is 3 over 4. So if I multiply that by 4, I get 3. 3Y equals 650 times 4 is, I think, 2,600. Okay. So now, to cancel out Y, I'm going to multiply the entire first equation by minus 1. And rather than writing out a whole new set of equations, let me just put in negative signs to indicate that I'm multiplying the first equation by minus 1. That allows me to cancel the x's out. And in fact, what I end up with is minus y plus 3y, which is 2y, equals 2,600 minus 1,000, so that's 1,600, or y equals 800. Okay, well, if I know that y is 800, and my first equation told me that x plus y is 1,000, then certainly that tells me that x is 200. Okay, so our solution here is x equals 200 and y equals 800. However, on these word problems, you should always explain what your variables mean. Rather than just saying x equals 200 and y equals 800, I should say that as part of my answer, I should give 200 children and 800 adults. Part of the reason for this is there's nothing special about x and y, and these are variables that we actually inserted to help us solve the problem. They weren't mentioned in the original problem at all, and so they really shouldn't be part of the answer. The answer should be something a little bit more descriptive. Okay, so 200 children and 800 adults rode the bus on that day.